Good morning.
Morning.
When it comes to conversation stoppers, there's nothing like the word that begins with a D, cap D, death. The transition that is known as death can really grind a party to a halt. Raise your hand if you saw the Barbie movie. That's quite a bit of you. I actually liked that movie. There was a scene toward the beginning when all the Barbies are having a great time dancing, and Barbie said, out of randomly, I've been thinking a lot about dying recently. And there was the sound of a needle scratching on a record. It was a moment, and Barbie in the movie tried to recover by saying, realizing everyone was staring, I'm just dying to have a good time, is what I meant. So I want to talk about it because people don't like to. And I always go a little deeper into those topics because there's something there that we're stuck on. So, first, how about a little bit of humor to lighten the topic? On a website of a funeral home in southern Utah, there's actually a tab called Funeral Funnies. I don't know why they would have jokes on a funeral home website, but maybe they thought people in mourning needed them. One joke on there went like this. A man fell asleep, a worker fell asleep, and while napping deeply, he was accidentally cremated. I guess 2 people got fired that day. So there's a saying that the only things that you can't change are death and taxes. But what if I told you there are some major things that you can control about the transition known as death? Namely, how it goes for you. Whether it's an easy transition or a more challenging one. So, a while back, a friend of mine transitioned named Earl. Earl's a real character, so I heard him very distinctly once he came through. He liked to dance at the bars in drag, and he chain smoked, so I would often, still do, smell his cigarettes before he is about to say something. And he said many wise things, but one of the things he told me was, let me see if I can read it exactly, because I don't want to get it. He said, let go of any judgment, criticism, and feelings that others deserve punishment now. You aren't going to be needing them. They won't be, and you won't be interested in them at your transition. What are you hanging on to them for anyway? So maybe when you're listening to that, you're reflecting on anyone in your life, maybe in the past, that said horrible things. They did some things that were wrong. Maybe you're not talking to them anymore. It doesn't have to be a family member, but it could be a friend. So what about that? Is that something that you want to carry with you at your transition? I started reading about this topic because I was just got interested in it. And I went to a book by Wilberforce Colville, which he is quoted from his book, Universal Ethical Teachings, which was in the Morse Pratt Institute curriculum. And he wrote, "He who bears ill will against those who bear ill will can never become pure. But he who feels no ill will purify those who hate, as hatred brings misery to the world. The sage knows no hate." So can you do that? Can I do that? That makes me think of healing. How can we heal that if we're still hanging on to that? You know, there's more to healing than just healing. Healing the physical, healing the pain and the hurt from medical issues, healing mentally. Healing is also a spiritual progression. So I did some more reading. So I wanted to really get to this. For anything I am still holding on to in you. I found the words of a famous healer, Harry Edwards. Harry Edwards wrote that when we are making our transition, we will discover ourselves awakening to our true nature, more expansive awareness of receiving in goodness, giving in goodness, accomplishing only goodness in our pursuit of our expanding and our beginning to realize our potential. So that's how it goes when you're transitioning and have transitioned. It's all about that goodness. Made me feel so imperfect reading that, but I want to know what I can do. So I contacted our healer, Dwayne Krause, and I talked with him, and I found some wisdom that he shared that I think I'm going to take on too. And I'm paraphrasing now, and I might not get it exactly right, but he was mentioning that if something annoys him, he likes to stop and look at it from a higher perspective and realize that in doing so, he's separate from spirit. And that just feels silly. And that helps him to not feel that way. Because when he does, he can't have as much fun with that person or in that situation. I like that. And so little is accomplished by hating other people. And many of us right now, it's so easy. I find myself even falling into a version of it sometimes when something happens. Someone I truly used to like will express an opinion that feels so wrong. Yeah. It can feel almost despicable to even to use that term. It's so dramatic, and it's like, how can I still like that person when they hold that opinion, right? It's a challenge. Yeah, we laugh, but it's serious. It's a big problem right now. And even siblings. I mean, I'm not even going to ask for a show of hands, but it's when we were children, we get along pretty well. And maybe we had a really close relationship with one of them. And then we grow up and maybe there's differences expressed, maybe religion, maybe on another topic. But all of a sudden, there's this distance. So what do we do with that? We just kind of drift and stop talking. Sometimes it's a little stronger than that. We won't talk to them ever again, or they won't talk to us. And it can feel off because then you don't know their kids and, they don't know their aunt or uncle or, uncle, as I'd like to say. But maybe there's a way that you can, be okay with them not being okay with you, but still treat them the same way. You know, you don't have to change yourself just to make peace and be someone you're not. You should be able to be authentically yourself. And let them receive you any way that they want to receive you. Dwayne reminded me that forgiveness is a word that can be triggering because some people think that it means that we are condoning and absolutely okay with something that they did that was clearly wrong, capital W. But it's more of a compassionate understanding that they're working through it, whatever it is. And in hindsight, as Earl said, it's unimportant. Those irritations and those disagreements when we're transitioning. So if that's going to be how we feel then, why are we doing it still today? Because we don't always know when that date will be. Not that it's imminent, but it just seems a little freer to live that way now. Our retired minister, Reverend Maurice Coverson, also likes to use and talk about the word forgiveness. And she likes to put it as this, it's letting go and letting it be. You don't have to make a big decision what it means and all that it carries with it. You can just it just means letting something be because the person knows what they did. Usually, sometimes they actually don't know what they did, which seems so surprising to us. But she said, letting go is meditating and getting to the point where you feel some sort of shift. And that shift, we could actually get to the place where we could be in their presence and not even think about what they did. Wow. Can you imagine? That's amazing. But that's a growth for us in letting go and letting the past be. Sometimes we have to think about the good part of the person, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we have to be back in their vibration, okay? So if they're still not a safe person, if you forgive them, you don't have to be around them and allow them to continue to hurt you. So I wanted to be clear about that. You can keep your distance, but you can pray and not judge them and just let them be who they are. And it'll turn out better for not only them, but for you. Here's an example. Now this is a stretch, but let's see if we can get there. So let's say the US military had an airstrike and it accidentally, or not so accidentally, struck a girls' school and more than 100 girls perished in it. Let's say that you wanted to talk to the commander-in-chief of the US military and express your feelings about this. So how might it go? What do you think would work? Can you picture that being in the room, just you and the commander-in-chief? Maybe not. But if you can, here's what you might want to consider. You might want to consider if you yell, they're going to yell. And after that, they're not going to hear anything that you say. They're going to turn away from you. So, okay, let's say you don't yell. If you take a judgmental tone or a tone where you're trying to shame, the same thing might happen as raising the volume of your voice. So therein lies the challenge. Could you, with that person or with whoever harmed you or whoever harmed whoever you love, could you be in a room with them? Could you use a caring voice to express your feelings and your opinion and not be angry. And if you do that, maybe it sounds like it's for them, but it's for you too. So if you have that vibration of caring about them getting what they did wrong and what they don't want to keep doing, in that moment, spirit will feel your sincerity and your love and is more likely to join and help that person receive that message you're trying to convey, actually getting at least part of it, more of it, so that they recognize and have a chance to change. So our former Reverend Maurice Coverson said to me, and I quote, "We want everyone, even the worst person on this planet, to grow, to become the best person that they can be." And I quote Wilberforce Colville, who wrote, "Sparing ill will against those who bear ill will bring misery to humankind." He was getting at the challenge for all of us. It's growth for you in wanting the person that hurts all of us or hurts you or hurts someone that you love to grow and to become the best version of themselves. But can you do that? Can you do that? Can you use the example of hurting kids and think, how can I work past the reality, the fact that kids were hurt and harmed, and grow to accept that that thing already happened? And what they did can't be undone or bring back the lives of those kids. And the thing about it is, it's so hard, isn't it, to not be able to say what you really want to say and in the way you want to deliver that message. It's tough because what you want to say is, you know, nothing you could do could bring back the lives to those children and them to their families. And you should apologize to their families to show you understand the pain that you caused. But you're not going to say it because you want your message to be heard. You have to work through your anger so you can share your thoughts in a positive way and not have a nasty confrontation. Because, again, you don't want them to turn away from you. So, to sum it up, one day we're each going to make that final curtain call ourselves. And that transition can be tuned up now so that when we get there, it goes easier. And you don't have to be overachievers and be perfect in every way. And the thing about it is no matter what, when you get there, no God on a higher throne that looks like a person is going to be judging you. And you can't go to somewhere with hell and brimstone. Instead, you're going to be only thinking of yourself, judging no one else. And so you're going to be able to start working through your lessons at that point. And there's no escaping lessons because in the spirit form, in the world of spirit, we're just progressing. We're just going to the light and getting higher and higher levels of understanding. I, for one, I want to learn all I can now. And I might not be a perfect human being, but I can at least learn so that it goes easier versus having to start over from the very beginning of the moral ABCs, Golden Rule 101. It'll be a lot more fun that way. And I am challenged, and I'm gonna work on it in this lifetime on earth, and you can too. Thank you.